Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We love having these folks in the studio, Bayside Community Center, joined by Adam Osorio. He's the Associate Director of Communications. Can't talk about you guys enough, Adam.
Oh, we love to be here, Drew. Thanks for having us on again.
Well, your guys' footprint is just amazing, and your impactful work with the folks in that community are just beyond reproach. You just do a great job. Joined by your colleague, Kimberly Kustenmacher, better known as KK. She's on the Linda Vista Community Garden Steering Committee. How you doing, KK?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
How long
Appreciate you having us here today.
Well, thrilled to have you on. Are you kidding me? How long have you been involved with the steering committee?
I've been involved for about a year.
About a year?
Yeah.
Okay. What got you involved in it?
Yeah, so I was walking my dog through the community park one day, and I saw a QR code next to this pile of dirt, basically, and I looked for volunteer opportunities. So I scanned it on my phone, and I, volunteered myself to take part in whatever was happening there. And then I was contacted and told that we were going to erect a community garden in that space. So that's kind of how it all started.
Those stories you just love because that's exactly what you do. They just come out of nowhere, so to speak. And then here you are doing it now a year later. We're going to chat also with the Resident Leadership Academy, a graduate and volunteer. She'll be coming into the studio shortly, Diana Gonzalez. I am honored to have as my guest co-host Ian Solomon. He is a leadership studies major at San Diego State, also interested in journalism and an entrepreneur. With his business. We were chatting about this recently. Ian, why don't you get us started with a question for Adam?
Yeah, Adam, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what's the mission of your organization?
Yeah. So our mission is to empower the diverse community to improve its quality of life through services, education, and advocacy. And we really think it's important that all three of those pillars are included because a lot of times when we think of improving quality of life, through, let's just say, services alone, that might look like just giving away a bag of food once a week. And it doesn't really get to the deeper underlying issues that the community is facing. And so that's why we think having this multi-tiered approach, combining education, teaching people how to grow their own food, for example, something that KK helps us with, and also advocacy, working at a system level to change policy and help increase food access. So that's something that we're really passionate about.
Yeah, it's too bad that Bayside hasn't been around that long. It's only 93 years, if I'm doing the math right. Oh my goodness, that is phenomenal. And and you've been there for a while, Adam. I know in that aspect of it. Talk about what you've seen as the growth and the footprint of Bayside.
Yeah, I've been blessed to be there for 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
I also started as a volunteer, and they hired me later.
Are you paying attention, KK?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm taking notes.
So I've learned a lot about not just the organization, but especially the community, the neighbors. And something that I was really excited to learn about was the history of Linda Vista as kind of this planned community from the 1940s. Back in that time, a lot of that land was still agrarian. It was farms, it was fields. So when these original houses were built, they were designed with the intent that the food source would be local, that people would grow their own food like right there on their property. And obviously, as the neighborhoods evolved, that hasn't been able to be maintained. So what's happened is really a food desert grew right in the middle of the city, and that's been a major challenge, obstacle that we've focused on facing.
So another job for Apollo Productions. What do you think, Ian?
I mean, I've been fascinated by the history of San Diego, so just hearing more about this is just really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's really an iconic neighborhood. KK, you've always been interested in gardening and that type of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. My dad had a massive garden in our yard growing up in Louisiana. So we always had homegrown vegetables and produce. And just seeing that got me really excited to take part in my own community garden in Linda Vista.
We're in Louisiana.
I'm from just the North Shore of New Orleans.
So I'm going to bore everyone to death, as I usually do, on this, as your colleague Diana Gonzalez comes in. Brandon will get her situated next to you, Adam. I've been honored and lucky to go to the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival 36 times.
Wow.
Right, exactly. So I love your city. It's phenomenal city. Is your family still there?
They are all still there, yes.
Very, very good. So what were you making in your garden in Louisiana?
Yeah, in Louisiana, we grew everything from, squash, tomatoes, and then we had, various orchards. So we grew our own satsumas and different produce in terms of oranges and different varietals like that.
Now, did you do it just for family consumption, or did you sell any of it?
This was all for family consumption. And these days, my parents are growing a series of blueberries. So they take those to the farmer's market and they sell those because they've produced quite a lot.
Right. Well, listen, what a boon for you, Adam, to have, KK involved in this. We have Diana Gonzalez has now stepped into the studio over here. How you doing, Diana?
Hi, great.
Nice to see you. And so you are a Resident Leadership Academy graduate and volunteer, right?
I am, yes.
Talk about what it means to be a Resident Leadership Academy graduate.
I feel like being a resident leader or being a graduate it's just a way it opens up a door for us as residents to just be able to communicate with other community leaders and to kind of, I guess, open up that platform to just regular everyday people.
Right, exactly. So, Adam, is this program that you folks do at Bayside been going on for quite a while then?
Yeah, so right now we're actually hosting our 26th cohort of the Resident Leadership Academy. Some of the graduates from the first and second cohort are still involved. My coworker, Tomasa Ruiz, she actually was a part of the second cohort of the RLA. So Bayside just has this wonderful track record of attracting people, sometimes with a QR code by a pile of dirt, but then keeping and cultivating those leadership qualities. And I've been a product of that. Diana, KK, where we've all seen that happen.
So how many graduates have there been over the time you've been doing this?
Yeah, I'm starting to lose count, but I know it's over 120 easily.
And what do they go through? What is the process they go through?
Yeah, it's a 10-week program, and it's leadership development. So it's basic leadership principles. But the course focuses, and Diana can probably fill in the details better.
Yes.
But I know that there's a specific community service project that each cohort picks. And I forget what yours was, Diana, but maybe you can tell us about that.
Actually, I wanted to mention what's really nice is, we all want to, I think everybody that's in the RLA program wants to just improve in our community. And so what this whole program does kind of is just opens that way to guide us to how to do that exactly. So for instance, in my RLA class, one of our biggest focuses was the alleyway. We have an alleyway that is facing the garden, and it was completely open to traffic. So getting community leaders, Congressman Campillo helped with having some blockades put there. So instead of it being a through alleyway, now it's closed off. So it slowed down traffic quite a bit. The other focus was the park, just making it a better environment, family friendly. Already, since we started the garden, it's just became so family focused, and it just night and day from when we first moved in.
When you hear these stories, it's amazing. So here's this iconic community center, been around for 93 years. And it is, you talk about shoulder to shoulder with everybody who lives in Linda Vista and does these things. What a brilliant idea to have the residents being part of their own leadership. My goodness. And there's really no reason why every neighborhood shouldn't be doing this. What are you thinking, Ian?
I just keep going back. It's incredible what you guys are doing, just like taking the ownership and the initiative to go and improve the community that you guys are all a part of. I think that's really remarkable.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is when we went about developing this garden, there was actually already laws on the books that would allow the use of city park land for community gardens. These laws were 10 years old, and no one had ever used them before. So they weren't exactly easy to understand or navigate. So that was something that resident leaders and local neighbors definitely helped us break ground on in more ways than one. But now what we're really excited to do is combine all that learning into one playbook for other organizations, other neighborhoods to use.
Well, listen, again, I'm already going through my head at I think we did this many years ago when I was at the Union Tribune. How many different neighborhoods are there in San Diego, city? And I think they came up, we had this great map in the paper. We said like 99 of them, from Grantville to Linda Vista to, we have 99 neighborhoods in this community. I mean, can you imagine 99 resident leadership programs? We would solve every single problem in San Diego City on that. We come back from break. I want to talk more to KK and you folks, Adam, you and Diana can add to it, about food insecurity. Anybody who lives in any place of this country knows it's a huge issue. That's what the garden is able to, combat in that aspect of it. And then we always save time, as Adam knows, in the second half of the interview. What can our listeners do to support, whether it's the garden or whether it's the leadership program or everything else we have going on? We return with our friends from Bayside Community Center. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Is listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 20th year. We're real proud of that. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Whether it's food insecurity or whether it's the arts, whether it's homelessness, financial literacy, they are there shoulder to shoulder with you. And we will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, having our longtime friends, Bayside Community Center, in the house. Adam Osorio, Associate Director of Communications, joined by Kimberly Kustenmacher, better known as KK. She's a member of the Linda Vista Community Garden Steering Committee and a Resident Leadership Academy graduate and a very proud volunteer. Diana Gonzalez joining us as well. Thrilled to have as my guest co-host Ian Solomon. He is a leadership studies major at SDSU, heavily involved in the media as well, and he has a question for you, KK.
Hi, KK. I was wondering what else can be done to address food security in Linda Vista?
Yeah, that's a great question. As Adam mentioned, the Linda Vista community is a food desert. And I think addressing food insecurity there is more than one solution. Community gardens are a great start, but we also need more education around nutrition and cooking with fresh ingredients, as well as partnerships with local schools, food banks, and small businesses. So we do already contribute and distribute our vegetables to the food bank at Bayside on Fridays, but I think creating more farmers markets or mobile produce stands, just more healthy and affordable, accessible food options all around. I think it's all about building a local food ecosystem that empowers people to grow, share, and sustain their own food.
Well, I think, and of course you did this as a family growing up in Louisiana, KK, and this is what you guys are all about at Bayside. When you think about the number of people, it's in the 800,000s that are food insecure in this region. It blows, I know Ian's head almost just exploded right now. It blows people away, and it's a true number. And that's why working with Feeding San Diego or the San Diego Food Bank, and of course what you folks are doing is just absolutely spot on. KK, you hit something that was didn't leave my brain too quickly. Nutritious. Talk about how important that aspect of the food is that you deliver and you grow.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. I thought I knew so much about gardening, and then I joined the community garden, and we're just surrounded by experts everywhere. So it's a constant cycle of learning. And I think I learned the difference between soil and dirt early on, and how there's so many macronutrients in our soil. And ultimately, you have to provide for the soil to be able to provide for your food. And all of that comes down to the earth. And, we call it Mother Earth, right? It's all about where we live. So it's really interesting to see the students and the seniors that come to our garden, and they learn a lot about the nutrients that we're putting into our soil and just how much it takes to produce one vegetable. So just learning and putting that effort into one tomato that you grow and the pride that comes from that kind of creates this bigger idea of food, food waste and sustainability and where that comes from. So I think overall, it's a whole process and a life cycle of learning about nutrition and how important that is to start early, and it comes from our soil.
Well, you talk about that. What a great learning aspect for the students, to say the least, on this. Not just the students, but the residents. Certainly like Diana in that area. And when you're out there sustaining your neighborhood and your neighbors, and I just cannot speak enough about this leadership program you folks are doing. And Diana, before you got involved in this, how much did you know your neighbors? A lot?
Let's think about that. So it's kind of funny, but I've been a Linda Vista resident for more than 20 years.
Right.
However, because of prices and rent, we were forced to move out of the area. Thank God we had the program at Amanecer, the affordable housing apartments, which is a whole other program, which is great. So we moved into this area to this complex, and we didn't know anybody in the complex. So starting, really, even though I had already been a resident in Linda Vista, I thought I knew, but being in that situation, it's like it was starting all over again in a sense. So it was really nice to get to know just everybody in the apartment complex, even at Bayside. I met Adam there, KK, and all the gardeners. And something you said that really stood out to me, Dan, was that sustaining our own neighbors, just by gardening, we
Absolutely.
were able to feed our own neighbors. I can't begin to tell you how much cilantro I was able to just hand out in bundles to everybody around the neighborhood. And just getting to know everybody's passing by. Wow.
And it's so true. We tend to live in some of these neighborhoods, and we'll know somebody halfway across the city, but the person next door, I think that, aren't you my neighbor? Yeah, I've been there for 25 years, for God's sake, in this aspect of it. But it brings that sense of community, together. Again, preaching to the congregation with Bayside. I've been doing it for 93 years. And if you think about it, if we had the 99 plus communities or neighborhoods in San Diego City, whatever the number is on this, that all did this, okay, and all coalesced. So I'm going to look after thy neighbor. I'm going to bring cilantro to my neighbor. I'm going to sit there and say, hi, and how are you doing? And I'm going to know your kids. I'm going to know your aunts. It is an absolute game changer. Again, we're chatting with our friends in Bayside Community Center, Adam Osorio, Associate Director of Communication, Kimberly Kustenmacher, better known as KK. She is the Linda Vista Community Garden Steering Committee member, and Diana Gonzalez, the Resident Leadership Academy graduate and volunteer for Bayside, joined by my co-host Ian Solomon, San Diego State senior and a leadership studies major on this. I know as you're looking at this, Ian, we just interviewed you on your leadership studies. This is an absolute classic case of neighborhood leadership, is it not?
Absolutely. And I think you guys are like pioneering what other communities could be doing as well. It really seems like a good model and something that I think can be implemented into all communities, because the growth that you probably see from it is just, it's such a miss not to be shared with other communities.
So here's what I'm going to do, because my associate producer, Brendan Joe, is just looking at me going, you're going to ask them to do extra work. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So, Ian, do you not think that having Diana and KK and Adam speak to your class would be a benefit?
Absolutely. I think it would be a miss not to have you guys and to share your story in one of my leadership classes, because, like I said, what you guys are doing is something that could be implemented into a lot of communities, and having that knowledge amongst the students would be incredible.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for my colleagues here, but I would love to be there. I mean, there's so much potential among that student body. When you think of the universities, we have great schools in San Diego. And when you think of the student bodies that are coming out of that, those are leaders, not just for this city, but anywhere they go, and to be able to share a little bit of the impact that the garden, that Bayside's having, have that influence, we'd love to make that available.
Yeah, we sort of tease on this one here. My business partner and colleague, and same with Brandon, Charles Parisi, CEO and founder of Cloudcast Media, always calls it connectivity capital. It means when you bring people together that they haven't met someone over here, I think we'd want to tie it into it. This is a perfect case of it. So here is Ian, who is an entrepreneur on his own, but is in this leadership class. And what you've done in this neighborhood leadership thing needs to be blown out to everybody. You speaking to that class, will give him kudos with the professor. I can guarantee you that as well. And then, of course, Ian, now with he's a podcast expert, can sort of tee this thing up. I'll start, with you on this, KK, and then go over to Diana, and then finish up with you, Adam. What can our listeners do to support the garden and what you're doing, KK? What can we do?
I think overall, there's a lot of discovery potential. Like you said, just grassroots activism. I think we have volunteer hours at the garden, so I think it's really cool for people to just show up. There's a lot of enthusiasm and interest and curiosity just when people walk by, because the space is so beautiful. It's like a little garden nature sanctuary, and so that's kind of where it starts, I think, for people to just start talking about it and showing up on volunteer hours and kind of seeing what we're doing, whether it's composting or, cutting vegetables and harvesting for Bayside's food bank distribution. That's kind of a good place to start. What do you think, Adam?
Oh man, we could always use more volunteers. Yeah, there's just in the lobby today, we're talking about soil being delivered today and trying to beat the rain, right? So there's just always these hands-on practical things that need to happen for that garden to be sustained. Right,
exactly. So what's the website? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so it's baysidecc.org.
Right. And so, Diana, how do we support the great work that you're doing as a leadership graduate and just the neighborhood as a whole? What can our listeners do?
Well, one thing I just want to comment on to helping with the garden, bringing your skills. Everybody has a really their own special skills, what makes them them. And I think that's what's the beauty about the garden is it's really where everybody can just bring what makes them them and what makes them special and kind of let that flourish and let that bloom, if you will. And the garden, I mean, for instance, I used to love to paint and I never really gave that time. And the garden really just opened that door for me and letting me be able to zone in on that love for painting. I know other people, we've done mosaic art. I mean, just again, if you there's anything that you feel that you're particularly good at, or you just love to do. Bring it, share it with us.
That is just absolutely the perfect comment when it comes to whether it's leadership that Ian is studying and all this business. And everybody has something to give. And there's no such thing as too small of a donation. There is nothing. If you only have $5 to give, beautiful. Or you only have 1 hour to do this month, KK will take you, in this aspect of it. Maybe it's 2 hours next month and so forth. So Adam, absolutely good seeing you. Pleasure meeting you, Diana and KK. Absolutely on this. I cannot wait until you're back on with your next foray of Bayside Community Center, guest on our Spotlight show. You guys have been just an absolute boon for us, and I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. And we're especially thankful to be here at this time. We have our special campaign coming up, the Faces of Food Security. And so that's like the perfect time for people to jump in and get involved. And again, that's at baysidecc.org.
Absolutely. Adam Osorio, Associate Director of Communications, KK. We're going to do with that one over at Linda Vista Community Garden Steering Committee for Bayside, and Diana Gonzalez, Bayside Community Center President Leadership Academy graduate. Thank you so much for always the great content you provide. Ian Solomon, pretty soon you're going to be hosting the show, and I'll be your co-host. Ian's done just a great job at SDSU Leadership Studies major. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.